Well, let's go to the Volta region where we understand that GES has been going on a school-to-school tour. Mauli Yevuagbe is standing by. Hello, Mauli.
Hello, Gifty.
What did they find on the school-to-school tour?
Well, according to educational authorities in the region, they have had information that some schools have not started with the process early in the morning. And so they have to go school to school to satisfy for themselves that all schools at the second cycle level have begun admissions in earnest and admitting students to various schools. And that they have confirmed to me that according to their checks so far, all schools in the region, the schools they have visited so far have started admission, and the fact that they have reopened and continuing students and new students have all started coming to school. I spoke with the public relations officer of the Ghana Education Service in the Volta region, in the person of Forgive Yao Agoha, who confirmed to me that they are satisfied as to the process so far, except for a few issues that they think that these go by would be corrected.
Let's talk about the situation there. I mean, we've brought updates about the situation in Accra. Some parents are happy, some are not, of course. There are some people who have concerns about boarding and day studentship actually for their wards. What can you report on that score from the Volta region?
For the Volta region, most of the schools I've visited, of course, in whole. These are first-class schools, Mauli School, Malco Girls, Ola Girls. All of these are first-class schools, and most of the parents I met and the students who are coming in have chosen these schools as their first choice. And so most of them who are going through the process today have actually been picked because it was their first choice. And except for a few parents who have chosen Maui and some other schools, and their children sent to schools far away from the Volta region. For example, one parent whose son has been sent to Sandema in the Upper West region, even though he hasn't chosen any school close to the northern part of the country. Those schools, Mauli and two other schools close to home. And apart from those parents who are a bit frustrated, those of them who have come to the various campuses today have actually gone through the process, have had their placement done. Even though I wasn't able to speak with the heads of the various schools I've visited, seems to be very busy and not ready to welcome media into their offices to speak to them. My checks from the notice board show that a lot of them have as many as over 600 students who have been posted to these schools. For example, Mauli has about 601 students.
And is that a good or a bad thing? Because one of the reports that we have from here in Accra is that some schools have actually been given more than they can handle. So the 600 figure that have been posted to Mauli School, for example, is that okay according to the officials there in the school?
That we can only confirm if the heads tell us exactly the number of people they have actually requested for. That we have not been able to secure from them. Okay. We can only tell what is being put on the notice board. That was 601 on the notice board.
Okay.
And I can say for a fact that there have been long queues of parents from all parts of the country, especially from the national capital, Accra, trooping to the various schools, Mauli, Malco, Ola. Those schools are visited. A lot of them came with their wards to want to check and take their prospectus and register them. And the continuing students are also coming and paying their fees and going into their various houses.
Okay. Well, before I let you go, has the boarding and day studentship been a big issue in the Volta region? Because some people have schools that are only day schools but are very far from their homes, and that's been quite a problem. For example, in the Ashanti region. From the Volta region, has it been a big issue?
Not a very big issue. Most of them who chose the schools, for example, in the regional capital and the schools nearby, most of them are largely boarding schools. And it's not too much of a big deal here. Around there are few parents whose wards are sent to the hinterland, who are expressing those concerns. Because they now have to go there and look for an accommodation, perhaps a room in the village or town, for their wards and provide them cooking utensils and other things to be able to take care for themselves while still schooling. And so apart from those concerns, for the first class schools in the regional capital and close to the regional capital is not a big deal.
Right, Mauli, thank you very much for that update. Mauli of Workbay is our Volta regional correspondent, bringing us up to speed. We also have a story about a stranded parent. He's Emmanuel and he's from Sogasco. Mr. Emmanuel, if you can hear me, what exactly is your problem?
We are stranded here this morning. We came here around 5 a.m., some 6 a.m., 7 a.m. We are still here. No admission is going on.
And this is at Sogasco?
Sogasco Senior High School.
What explanations have you been getting from the authorities at the school?
Nobody is telling us anything. At a point, they just told us that the headmaster is not in the school. He has given a instruction that only those who want their work to be day students should be given admission. And about over 500 people are here. Nothing is going on. People are coming from Kumasi, Accra, Kofoedoaho. We are all standing here. We don't know what is going on.
But is the school closed or is it open?
It's not closed. It's not closed.
If it's not closed, what is preventing you from going ahead?
Nobody's telling us anything.
Okay, so give me a mental picture because I'm not there and I can't really see what's happening. And so is anybody who's watching. Can you explain to us? Yes, can you give us a mental picture of what it looks like now? Now the school is open. School authorities are in the school, but they are not registering. They're not registering the students. Is that it?
Not there. We are only told, we are given instruction that only those who want their work to be day students should be given admission. And the borders, you know what they are telling us.
Okay, so they are only registering people who are for day studentship. Is that correct?
Yes, that's what they are telling us. And nobody wants that.
Okay. Well, we'll try and raise the Sogasco authorities and see if we can get any answers for you. In the meantime, let me just assure you that we have the Deputy Minister in the studio. We'll be talking to him and get some answers for you. It's raining. I get that. All right, sir. Thank you very much for your time here on the show. Like I said, we have the Deputy Minister in the studio. We'll be taking some of your questions and your concerns so he can give us some answers. In the meantime, though, Maxwell Agbagba has been touring some schools here in Accra, and it was discovered that quite a number of SHS are being given more students than they can actually accommodate.
Well, the challenges principally, I will only say there are two. One, some parents who probably were not aware that St. Thomas Aquinas is a day school. And so about 52 of such students came outside Greater Accra to seek admission here in a purely day institution. That's a challenge. The other one for now, by which the CSSPS is sorting out, is the placement number given to me. I requested for 520 students, and I was given 616, a difference of 96. But I've already informed my bosses, and they are eagerly sorting things out.
Challenges. We met a parent outside who says he was told that his child should come to school on Wednesday, and he was pointed, another student was pointed to him that his child should look like a particular student, and that they should provide their own school uniforms because the school uniforms are not ready yet.
No, that is not true. That is not true. Okay. School uniforms will be made ready very soon. Students should just look decently. That is why we are only asking them to come in white shirt. I don't think there's any student now who says he hasn't gotten a white shirt.
We've been talking about the NPP's flagship program, the Free Senior High School. Well, he tells me that about 600 students were placed here in this school. And as at 10 a.m. this morning, about 400 of them have already registered and are ready to start class on Wednesday. Well, there have been issues about funding for the Free Senior High School program, with former Deputy Minister of Education, Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa, saying that the government would need 600 million Ghana cedis to be able to roll out the policy effectively just for the 2017-2018 academic year. But government says it is using 400 million Ghana cedis. I've been speaking to Cyril Kojo Dade about whether he envisages any funding challenges.
I don't envisage any financing challenges, even if it will take the government 800 million cedis or $1 billion. I said we have oil money. Libya did it. We can do same. And I believe after 2-3 years, we even extend it to the universities. Nana Akufo-Addo, if he retains power, he can extend it, or whoever will inherit him, assuming he doesn't win, can extend it to the universities. We can do it. We have money.
Because you see, when they say free, we are living in a country where that when you say free, that means everybody think everything should be free. There are some people who have the money, who can pay. I believe that some of us who think that we want to support the nation, we have the money to pay fees. We can pay fees so the nation will develop. When we say everything should be free for everybody, those who have the money to pay fees are also coming free. And where are they going to put that money? So
some pundits have raised concern that government should have targeted vulnerable and needy people for the free senior high school program. But the headmaster for St. Thomas Aquinas, Sir Kojo Dade, once again disagrees. He says for parents who feel that they can pay for their ward school fees, they should rather channel those resources to support the schools that their children are attending.
I don't agree with those parents. The free education is there for all. If you think you can pay, you accept the free education. What you think you can pay, the school needs so many things. Come and donate those your excess money to the schools. Yes.
Earlier, we were at the Labone Senior High School where some parents were raising concerns because authorities there were giving priority to people who have come from other regions. Well, what that means is that if you wrote your basic education certificate examination here in the Greater Accra region, you cannot make it to the boarding facility at Labone Senior High School.
I learned my son is not going to get the admission for boarding house, and I was asking why. They said when you write the BCE in Accra, the exam in Accra, that means you will not get the boarding house. That means you have to be a day student. But we are trying to resolve that issue too with them. And I think
you understand they're giving priority to people who are coming from Kumasi and the rest.
Yes, it's right, because Master, you cannot be at Kumasi and schooling in a boarding. It's not sense. So, but they have to explain it to us. You understand? So, if you are in Accra, you want your daughter or your son to attend a school, so, like you want to be a boarding house, a boarding student, a boarder, you have to do what? You have to choose the school outside Accra.
The logo of the Free Senior High School policy is an open book with 2 jubilant children. Now, carefully written under it are the words access, equity, and quality. Well, some parents do not want these core things compromised, even as they are not burdened with the cost of paying for the admission fees, examination fees, and the likes for their children.
I'm very excited because paying extra fees is going to be limited, and my concern is also about quality. If the quality is not going to drop down, we still want to maintain the quality. So we are just praying that everything goes as planned. Borders, they have limited space for borders, so they are going to do a consideration based on how far you live. So if you are coming from Kumasi, you'll be given a priority before someone who lives in Accra.
So that is Maxwell Agbagba with that report. Justice Baidu has also been out and about. He's been speaking with the headmistress of the Accra Girls, Joyce Akolache. But before we bring you justice, let me just announce that the Deputy Minister for Education, Dr. Osei Duchum, is in the studio with us. Doctor, thank you very much for coming.
Thank you for inviting me.
So let's go to Justice's story, and then when we come back, we'll engage him. I'm going to announce a few, some telephone lines, and you can call if you have questions, you have major issues you want the Deputy Minister to answer. You're free to do that, and he will do so. Let's watch the story. And when we
so far, the process is going on very well. We started since 8 a.m. and as you can see, they are being registered. Once they see their name on the placements list, they come and give us the necessary. Because this school is for both day and boarding. We declared that we can admit 250 students, and that's what we can, and that's what we have been given. So we have been given 580, and 250 will be boarders. The rest will be day students. Those from outer places, we have given them boarding by their index numbers. You see what they are doing, that most parents are lying. Because they've seen that their index numbers are indicating Accra, they now come and tell us they are from far away places. But their index numbers originally indicated that they were from Greater Accra. So they should please tell us the truth. Everybody from outside Accra has the boarding students. And when we finish with them, then those from Dowenya will take care of those from very far off Accra. But if you live at Odoko or Mamobi, of course, you'll be a day late because you're very close. There's no logical...
Have we had all the money drop in the account?
We are just from Charles meeting. I just came and I'm doing admission process. So I'm sure when I check, the money will be there.
Okay, so that is Joyce Akolache, headmistress of the Accra girls. And when that story was playing, the deputy minister here was very excited. Seeing that girl passing by with her document in her hand, smiling, he says, what did you say again?
It's worth every effort when you see that happening.
Okay.
That's what we've been working for.
But that's just one girl smiling.
And it means a lot to me.
It does mean a lot to you.
If that girl was frowning, it would have meant a lot to me.
We have some people who have actually frowned, more than frowned.
Yeah, but that gives me hope when I see the smile.
Okay.
And one day, the rest of them will be smiling.
Just like the one who was smiling now. Okay. Yeah. So the telephone line now, let me just, it's not open, but let me just announce it so you can put it down. It's 0302-211-691. Or you can also call on 0302-211-692. So it's 211-691 and 211-692. 0302. Those are the telephone lines you can reach us on. You can bring in your questions, your concerns, major questions, concerns that you want the Deputy Minister to address. So let me start with you.
Yes.
Let me start with the very latest. This morning you've been talking quite a lot. The minority, let me start with the minority. They've described this whole process as ill-conceived, badly implemented. What's your response? Have you heard them, by the way?
Interesting. You guys have been telling me. I didn't have the time to hear them.
Okay.
But it's interesting. When you start a policy called Progressively Free with 84 cedi subsidy for day students, 54 for boarders, and you couldn't pay accumulated arrears. You see, when you don't have the capacity to come up with innovation and begin to look at how you can implement something as simple as 84 cedis and 54, you wonder how somebody is able to do 748 and 1,100. That is the fix that they are in.
Which fix? I'm struggling to understand.
The issue is this. They started something called Progressively Free.
Right.
They were just giving 84 cedis to day students and 54, and they still couldn't pay.
Okay.
They accumulated arrears. As I speak with you, the good news is that we are paying off everything. Tomorrow, money is going to pay the arrears and even pay for this year's subsidies so that second year and third year students will continue to benefit from the policy that they could not implement.
Okay, so let me...
So second year and third year students will get a Progressively Free that they couldn't implement, but where we are giving the subsidies so that we can relieve the burden of parents second and third year as we focus on how best we can also make sure that the first year students across the country, which is good news, because you know, the Northern headmasters, I heard from them when I was at home, they were complaining bitterly as to what happens to them. And every year it's become a ritual where they, until they threaten to shut down their schools, no money goes to them.
Don't go.
And this year, first year, has been taken care of.
Okay.
Let me, since
we're dealing with the minority, let's finish with them and let me just read for you excerpts of their press conference or their press release. It says the minority notes with disappointment the general disarray and widespread frustration of parents and students that have characterized this year's computerized school selection and placement system. We empathize with goes on candidates and victims, etc. There have been reports of multiple IT system breakdowns, placement deadlines on wheels, in bracket postponed at least 3 times, candidates who are yet to be placed even as the 2017-2018 academic year commences today, male students placed in female schools and vice versa, a situation which never occurred throughout the 8-year period that they were in power. These are legitimate concerns that they have raised. These are issues that we have reported on.
These are issues that I've talked about throughout last week and this week. You see, they don't know how to execute new ideas and programs, and they are just trying to look for a few instances where there have been glitches that I have come out to admit.
Okay.
Monday, when we had over 400,000 parents trying to log on into our system, of course, the system was overwhelmed. We immediately went to NITA. NITA took over the server of our system, placed it on a virtual server with unlimited capacity so everybody can log in. And that is how we executed Tuesday going forward, and got hundreds of thousands of people to go into the system and print their registration documents. So yes, we realized that the first day was challenging. The second day was now parents are being able to print their registration. What we are doing differently this year than the previous years, when students were reporting to school in November and December, in some schools it was January. Well, because we realized that you cannot just focus on access, you cannot just get students to go to school without improving quality. What has happened to this country is a tragedy. When you see the results of the WASI come out, and 70% of the students do not attain the grades that will allow them to go to tertiary education level. 70% failure rate.
Okay.
That's what we are dealing with. So let me come to why the early CSSPS and why the challenges. What we decided to do differently, when we got to the Ministry of Education, my minister, Dr. Meto Poku-Prempeh, said, we need to cut this out. We need to stop this loss of instructional time. So let's compress the whole placement schedule. Don't take 3 months to do placement. Let's look at efficient ways of doing it. Let's focus more on creating web portals, portals where headmasters will get their information instantaneously as we place students. And then the second phase of it was, after we do the first placement, we don't want to take 2 months before we finish the placement like has been done over the years. Let us do a situation where after the first placement is done, those who do not get their choices, allow them to do a self-placement system so that the parent will be able to decide that I truly want my child to go to this school. Now look at the 156,000 who did not get schools. All the people in that process, only about 25,000 have not gotten schools, selected schools yet, right? The 125,000 plus who have done it, nobody's complaining about his or her placement because they selected it, right?
Okay.
Now, so what we are saying is this. We came up with a system that will ensure that students go to school early. There were glitches initially. We accepted it. And then the minority talks about why did you postpone many times. We are a listening government. So what we decided to do was, you know what, let's move forward. We're not going to put any impediment in your way.
The issue with that is that you knew the people who had written the BEC, for instance. So at least if you don't need to have the specific figure, but you could anticipate a certain number of people going onto that system. So did you not anticipate? Did you not look at the numbers that could become exactly? So then
we anticipated it.
So why then did we have that problem on our hands?
Now, of course, it has happened over the years. Any computer system, computers are weird. You develop an algorithm that you think will take you from A to B, you get in the middle of it and it's not working, the algorithm is not working the way it should work, you go back and rewrite, you provide server capacity to make sure you get to your intended destination. When you can anticipate a lot of things, but when you get to it, there are times when you have challenges. We accepted it, we moved on, we provided a solution.
I see. There's another issue they've raised is funding. Earlier last week, one of my colleagues spoke to Okujetu Ablakwa, who says that he can say for a fact that this program cannot be sustained by your administration. This morning, their press conference this afternoon, they've raised the same issue. They're saying that we risk closing down senior high schools because of this policy. Are we
serious? The Northern Scholarship, right, that have led to closure of Northern schools, postponement of opening of Northern schools under them for many years, it's been fixed. Tomorrow, funds are going to the Northern schools for second and third year so that they can open.
Where are we getting the money from?
Of course, from government of Ghana. I mean, I keep hearing where are we getting the money from. This is a government that is prudent with the use of its resources.
So exactly what are the sources of funding for
government of Ghana? Your tax dollars, tax cedis at work. Your tax cedis, you are paying taxes. And this government is saying, I want to manage my resources well. And then we keep asking, where's the money coming from? You see, the Northern grant is a commitment by feeding grant, a commitment by the government. We did not follow through for years.
So if you say government, there are various sources of, and we've had some calls, we'll take them briefly.
No, what I'm saying is
there are various sources, which can you point
government of Ghana sources, I'm not going to sit here. The most important thing is that the headmaster from North can open school.
Yes,
that is what I'm concerned about.
But you just said that it is my tax that you're using to pay. So I need to know which particular part. I need to know how you're using my money.
When you come to budget, you have GOG. Yeah. Government of Ghana. That's where the money is coming from.
Okay. On the phone now is Manaf. Manaf. Yeah, Manaf, I don't know where you're calling from. Where are you calling from, and what's the problem?
Swami Kumasi.
Swami Kumasi, the Deputy Minister is here. What's your problem?
Very well. Respect.
I'm so sorry, Manaf, I lost you. If you can try and call again, I'll be grateful. Theophilus Kwesen is calling from Enche in Western Region. Theophilus, the Deputy Minister is here. Your tax is what you're using to pay him. Tell him what your problem is.
My problem is to the Minister. We still have some students whose results have been withheld, the BC, at our area, and they still don't know their fate. They can't be placed in the system. Even though they pass the English and the maths, their science have been withheld.
How do they know if their results have been withheld? How do you know that they've passed the science and maths?
The issue is we're told that the placements have been done based on their English or maths, and they passed the English and maths, but WAEC withheld their science results.
Okay, so the science results have been withheld.
Withheld, yes.
Okay, which school is this?
They don't know where to be placed.
Which school?
It's a school around Enchi. One of the remote
the name of the school would help. Hello, Kwesen. Okay, we don't have the name of the school. Kwesen, the Abdul Majid from Bole. Abdul, what's your problem? Abdul, if you can hear me, what's your problem with the free SHS? Okay, I've lost him as well. But you've got one question about the withheld BEC results.
The WAEC released some results on Friday, and all those things have been placed. So I want to use this medium to encourage parents to go and check their placement. It came in, and on Saturday, Sunday, we were working on it to make sure those students could be placed, and they've been placed.
Okay.
So we want to encourage parents and head teachers whose results have been were held by WAEC to encourage the children to go and check, because it has been released.
There have been issues about quality, and the fact that quality could be affected by this wholesale kind of placement, so that people fear for the so-called Ivy League schools in Ghana, for instance, because anybody then can be placed in any school. They think that you end up not getting the quality that those schools have had in terms of how well the student did at the BECE level.
Not every school, every student is placed in Ivy League schools. Those top performing schools don't just pick any student.
Okay.
Yeah, the system selects students based on their grades. That's why you hear that somebody says, I had aggregate 8 and I didn't get accepted. I was not accepted to West. If everybody was going, how can you have a situation where somebody with 8 will not go to Wesley Girls?
Well, 8 will not go to Wesley Girls, but 38, 34, they're going to school.
They are going to school, yes. And they should, rightly so. What we are telling schools is that there's something around the world called intervention, response to intervention. In schools around the world, that you get a student who is not doing well, the school must have an RTI program where you select students who are struggling and are not doing well. You provide them support. Right. You see, that is the mark of a successful school, when those who are not doing well are provided support. Okay. You see, in some schools, students are just coasting. Schools are coasting because they get all the best students, and at the end of the day, they turn out the best results.
They don't put in much,
because
as teachers.
It's when you get the most challenging student, as a teacher, I've taught for 10 years mathematics. Right. When you get the most challenging student, and at the end of the day, that student does well. Transformed. That is when you smile.
Okay, let me hold you on there. Jeff is from Bandai in the northern region. Jeff, which school are you complaining about, and what exactly is your problem with the free SHS?
No, actually, I'm not complaining about any policy.
Sounds good.
Yeah, the system is very good. It's a perfect system, and we salute the president for that. But we know very well that whatever he said, and we definitely fulfill it. Because when we are in power, we said during Kufuor's regime, we were able to implement the health insurance. This same NDC said, no, we will not be able to implement it.
Okay, Jeff,
but it's not working.
Wait, Jeff, I'm going to have to stop you there, because today what we're doing really is to focus on the free SHS and people who have issues and who need real solutions real quick. Okay, so but thank you very much for calling and for congratulating them. I'm sure the minister is happy about it. Patrick is in the Western region, Draboso to be precise. Yeah. Patrick, you have a problem with free SHS?
Yeah, I have a little problem.
Please go ahead.
My
The Deputy
problem is,
Minister is listening.
Those who completed the SHS last year, yeah, I want to know their fate. I learned they are not part of this program.
Those who completed
but were not
SHS
able
last
to
year?
enroll.
Okay.
Yeah, and were not able to enroll.
Okay.
I want to know if they are part of this system.
Okay, please, so keep watching. The Deputy Minister will give you an answer. Sadiq from Tamale. Sadiq, what's the problem with the free SHS? Okay, well, I don't have Sadiq at the moment, do I? Sadiq, can you hear me?
Yes, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. The Deputy Minister is listening to your concerns about free SHS.
Yes, I was just explaining to your co. Yes, I can hear you, please.
Please go ahead.
Yes, it has to do with the fact that a friend just called me that the cousin was processing his document, that's the registration, and that somebody told him that he need to pay 300, which I want to find out. Is it truly that some aspect of expenses will be made on this particular thing, or is just free totally?
Okay, which school is this, please?
Nobi School, that's Northern School of Business, please.
Northern School of Business?
Yes.
Northern School of Business. Please keep watching. The minister will give you an answer. Let me take one last question, then we'll get the answers. Bukari from Boko. Bukari, what's your issue with the free SHS? Okay, I don't seem to have him. Let's take your answers, sir.
Hello.
Oh, I do have you.
Hello.
Yes, please. What's your issue with free SHS and which school?
Yeah, this is just a parent in Boku, calling from Boku. And you know, Minister, I'm a parent from Boku.
Yes, what's the issue, please?
Yeah, the issue is that my ward has been placed at the Volta region. That was the sixth placement.
Okay.
Yes, and we want to find out from the minister whether it will be possible for us to reselect schools within the Upper East or the Northern sector for our ward, because moving from here to the Volta region might not be easy for them at all. And maybe some of the schools might be day schools too, so getting accommodation might be a problem. Is there any possibility of changing?
Okay, well, please keep watching. The minister will give you an answer right now. So you have a couple of questions. Someone is asking about those who could not enroll last year. Yes, those who passed but could not enroll last year, would they qualify for this? Some people are having to pay 300 cedis in the Nobusco, Northern Region Business School or so. And then he's in Boko. His child has been posted to Volta region.
Yeah, let me take the last one first.
Okay.
This computer doesn't post anybody to Volta region. The child selected the school. And I can understand that the parents are now reassessing to see that maybe the child selected that and the parents,
so they didn't know.
Parents are putting brakes on and say, hey, wait a minute. We don't want you to vote our region. They should go to the regional office of education.
Okay.
They will be able to talk to them and see what they can do, especially when the parent is saying, bring him to a school closer to me. I don't think it's a bad thing.
Right.
Now,
but is that something that you're going to be doing across the board? Because there are quite a number of parents who have complained about this same issue.
I mean, the thing is this. If she was sent to a day school in Volta region and there's no boarding facility, then we have to take a look at it. Okay. On the other hand, if there's a boarding facility, there's a reason why the boarding is there. Okay. So
this is how the GES, this is how the ministry is dealing with those issues.
Case by case basis.
Okay.
Where you have extreme situation where even though the student may have made a mistake, and now he's posted from Accra to a day school in Kumasi. Yeah, we are working through those kind of issues.
Okay.
But we are not doing a wholesale transfer. No. If there's a boarding facility, you selected the school. You go there because it will be chaotic to see everybody saying, hey, I want this school. And somebody may say that because he got her third choice, right? And he wants to come back to the second or first choice. So it's not possible under the circumstances.
Okay. The next question.
And the next question is about the Northern School of Business.
Yes.
I'm going to get the GS to get on it right away. Nobody should pay a cedi or a penny to any headmaster in any school. We've taken care of school uniforms, taking care of school dress, taking care of our school cloth. All that has been taken care of, paid for by the government. There's not a penny left to be paid even including teacher motivation.
So in this case that he's alleging that he's been asked to pay 300
if it's true, the headmaster is coming to Accra. We'll have a nice conversation with him.
But how do you substantiate that?
No, if it's true. That's why I say if it is true.
So is the ministry
and they have a receipt, they have something to show that because you don't...
I mean, usually for these monies, you don't get receipts.
No, they do. They do. They issue receipts. Okay. I mean, wherever it is, if it can be substantiated, at minimum, the headmaster will have to come to Accra and talk to us because we've met with them countless number of times in whole, everywhere with chats. Their leadership has reiterated it to them. Don't get into trouble with this.
If it so happens that you're being asked to pay money anywhere, what's the process? What should you do as a parent?
Don't pay. Do not pay. Call Accra. First of all, find out who is asking to pay the money. I want to be very clear on that because some scam artists will be doing this and maybe putting headmaster's name in trouble.
True.
So if you are entering the school and somebody sees you and say, hey, pay this to me, say no, I'm not going to. If you go to any school and the bearer or any staff asks you to pay money, ask to talk to the headmaster. Because what I'm going to hear, what may have taken place is that the headmaster may not be the person who is asking to pay.
Yes,
so anyone who is being asked to pay money, please ask to speak with the headmaster. Because I don't believe that any headmaster, after all the discussion we've had, will flout the rules. So ask to speak with the headmaster, and if it's the headmaster, then let us know.
Finally,
now, the re-entry. We inherited a policy that said that if you've been out of school for the last 2 years, you can apply to join this year. Over the years, sometimes about 3,000 people who apply. This year, we had very close to 10,000 who applied for re-entry. They completed the forms. Their head teachers signed them. It came to the regional office of education. They brought them to Accra, and we placed them. Yeah, so re-entry has been taken care of.
It's been taken care of.
Yeah.
Well, I bet he didn't know that. Well, now you know. I have some few questions here, but let me take those who've been standing on the line. So sorry for making you hold for that long. Francis Teburi in Kranza. Francis, what's your issue? What's the school?
Yeah, my school is Kranza Senior High School.
In Kranza Senior High School.
Yes, please.
Yes, what's the issue, please?
My problem has to do with the criteria that they are going to use in selecting students for the boarding.
The criteria for?
Selecting students for boarding.
For boarding, okay.
Yes, please.
Okay.
With the issue being free, many people want to be placed at the boarding facility. And so what criteria are they going to use?
We'll get the answer. We'll get the answer from the minister. Thank you for holding and thank you for calling. Isaac from Zebla in the Upper East region. Isaac, what's the school and what's the issue?
My issue is that my sister completed last year. And she was not able to go to school last year. So later on we heard that they were selling forms or they were giving forms at GS offices. So she went and they told her that the forms have finished. So, and we don't know what to do again. And we are told that they have even extended the deadline to 30th of September. So we don't know whether we have a chance
to go to school, for her to go to school. The Deputy Minister is here. He's got all the questions, all the answers in his bosom. So you've had, I mean, Kranza Senior High School, boarding. What's the criteria for boarding, which has been one of the biggest issues we've had to talk about today? Boarding day. Who qualifies to be in the boarding school? Is it at the discretion of the head teachers?
What we did at the beginning of this process was that we met with our headmasters and we asked them to declare spaces that are available in their boarding schools. So they actually submitted boarding capacity to us. And then they also told us that based on our classroom facility, these are the number of students that we can accommodate. So based on the boarding facility that they declared, we're able to determine that this headmaster can take this number of boarders. And the total school enrollment should be of this capacity. Now, having said all that, we also met with CHAS, and we had a conversation with them, and we asked them, how is this going to be done? We don't want to impose things from Accra. I mean, that era is gone. We want to listen to people. So the headmasters gave us a rundown of what they do, that they start with people who are from other regions, and then they come down to the region, and then within the region they look at the index numbers to determine the proximity. If you are from Greater Accra, it doesn't mean that you should be there unless you live close there. So they go all the way down to see who becomes border and who becomes there. So we left that to the headmasters based on the policy that they described to us, that use the policy that is time tested, you use it over the years, we trust you. There has to be some level of trust.
I see.
You know, so we allow
So it's basically at the head teacher's discretion.
Based on what they describe to us.
To
so
you.
we can use an index number. If there's any particular instance, we can look at the index number of the students.
To determine whether or not.
Yes, whether or not they were close to the school or they were not close to the school.
So, but is there any sort of monitoring? Because if you leave it at the discretion of the head teachers, we know what can happen.
What's going to happen is that headmasters are very creative individuals, and I respect them a lot.
Yeah.
Based on my dialogue with them and many times that I've met them, I've come to realize that they are conscientious people who, if you provide guidelines, they will follow.
Okay.
In the meantime, the most important thing is that they are enrolling the students on our platform, right? So within a few days, we're going to see those that they have selected at boarding or day students.
Okay.
So I can go to the platform and check some index numbers at random to see what actually took place.
Okay.
So it's no rocket science. It's not difficult at all for us to be able to monitor.
Okay.
We are using 21st century monitoring mechanism. I don't have to board a bus and get to Tamale to see the number of students there. So, so we are working on that.
Okay, there's one more question, but let me take my final two calls so that we'll add it to the, I think it was about the forms for the re-entry. But let me take these last two. Francis is calling from Bekwai. Francis, your issue and which school?
Yeah. Hello.
Please go ahead. He's listening.
Yes, mine is not a question specifically. Mine is not a question specifically. It's a contribution. I'm a teacher.
Okay.
From the choir teachers. What I'm saying is people are complaining about compromising quality.
Yeah.
I want to quell that fear in the sense that we, the teachers in the system, are the same teachers who are going to handle the children that are coming. And so we are not going to change. We are rather going to, even if anything, improve upon our system. So if they talk about quality being reduced, I don't even get it.
Okay.
And that would be an insult to even we, the teachers.
Okay.
The people should not be propagating that in the sense that we, the teachers, are not changing. The quality is the same. You are going to teach the children the same thing we've been teaching them.
Okay.
And so what is the quality you are talking about here?
Your point is well made, sir. Thank you very much for calling. And kudos to you all teachers who are doing very good work with the children of this country and with the students of this country. Let me take Samuel from Winneba. Samuel.
Yeah, hello.
Please, what's your issue and which school is it?
Yeah, secondary college.
Secondary college. Okay.
Yeah, my daughter had Takrady, and apparently we went there for the admission letters, and they were told that it is not ready, the headmaster is not around. So we should leave our contacts, they will call us, and even to the extent of even taking something small to use it as a...
Something small, as in you give them money?
Money to buy credit to call us.
I see. This is secondary school. Who did you give the money to?
One John. I think he is the administrator.
John, and he's supposed to be the administrator.
Yes.
Okay, so he asked you to pay. He asked you to give him some money so he could call you back.
Exactly. We've waited for the call. The call is not coming, and we are even calling. Nobody is picking up the call. We cannot travel from Winneba to Takrady every time because of this issue. You see, you call us, the thing is ready. We come, we pick it, then we move on. Up to now, even today, I've called him from morning up to evening. He's not picking my calls.
Okay.
So I don't know.
Okay. Well, the minister will give you an answer now that you put it out there. But you do know that the giver and the taker of bribes are both at fault, right?
No, this I just.
I mean, I'm not saying that you bribed him. I'm not saying that you bribed him. I'm just saying.
Issue about it, but my issue is, like they should call or even respond to our calls.
At least they should call you. That's your issue.
Exactly.
At least they should call you. Okay. Samuel, thank you for calling. I'm sure the issue will be addressed. This should be my final call. Gordon Danso. This should be the final call. Gordon Danso, please, where are you calling from? What's the issue and what's the school? Hello, Gordon. Okay.
Hello.
Yes, please, where are you calling from, the issue, and which school?
Well, the name is Gordon, calling from Dansoman.
Oh, sorry. Okay, Gordon, tell us what the issue is and which school it's with.
On the free SHS, except that I want to take it from one angle, particularly from the policy angle. We know that the government has stated emphatically that they would love to define or redefine basic education. I would like to know from the policy point of view. We've not heard so much about that yet. Good, they are implementing the free SHS. However, can we know the future with respect to that?
Okay, all right. Well, we'll get an answer to that. Please stop taking calls. My producer, Shaibu Obuase. Shaibu, you'll be my last caller. Shaibu, what's the issue, please?
Hello.
Yes, please go ahead.
Please, I want to know those who registered last year, are they covered with the free HS exam?
Say that again.
I want to know who registered last year. Are they covered with the free HS treatment?
Yes, I think that has been answered already.
Okay, and the last issue is that, like, if you have 34 and you were placed, are you also covered with the free test?
If you did what?
If I aggregate 34.
Aggregate 34?
Yeah.
And you were placed? Yes, it means you go to school. It means yours is to go to school. Government said it has paid everything. So if you were placed, that's not a problem. You just have to take your things and, get yourself ready and go to school. Okay, I'm sure that we've answered your question. So, boss, let's look at the secondary college. The secondary college, they've had to, give them some telephone, something for the phone call, and the call has been stalled some way, somehow.
It's unfortunate.
Right.
The lens people will go to get into trouble. Sometimes I just don't understand them. But I've relayed the information to the Director General of Ghana Education Service to make sure secondary college is open for business. And parents can go there and register, and also to ask for a guy called John. and let's see what John will say. Okay, we'll see what John will say. Isn't it amazing that you can, call in and get answers from your ministers? Isn't that great? Anyway, the forms for the re-entry, he said that they went and then they said the forms were finished, but they still... It's just unfortunate. At this point, we're dealing with those who are already in the system. You cannot add anybody to the system any longer. It's just unfortunate, but this year it will not happen. Okay, so he may have to wait and perhaps try next year. Then the redefining, exactly, that's the question I was going to ask. He says in your manifesto, free SHS, according to you, is that you're going to redefine basic education to include senior high school. And it's going to cover vocational, agricultural, technical schools, etc., and make it available for free on a universal basis. Yes. That's according to the manifesto, which you were a part of drafting, especially for the education. Why is it that it's only being enjoyed, or it's only applying to first years? I mean, the history of education reform is replete with examples of starting with the first year in this country. If you look at any countries around the world, it's not just a unique Ghanaian example, that when you start any new program, you want to really work the whole thing out carefully to make sure you can take the challenges out, tweak it, reform it, refine it, so that you have a better product at the end. And what we decided to do, based on when we drafted the manifesto, was to begin a process. That's why when you look at the logo, it doesn't just say access, it talks about quality, right? And we talk about equity, which we haven't discussed here. But our issue at this point is to make sure that these three elements are present in our first year educational programs to ensure that we can really say that free senior high school came and it made a difference in the lives of the students, in the life of the parents, and in the life of the country. The issue is that it has not been redefined yet, as you said you will. When you talk about redefining, you lay foundation for redefinition. So this is the foundation? Yes. Because you see, when you say that something is part of the basic education system, it becomes something that should be fully funded, right? There should be no impediment. So if you don't introduce the cost remover element, you cannot proceed to redefine.
Okay, so this is a process. A
process. This is the first step. Because now, what we have actually done is that there's no impediment.
I see.
So literally, you have redefined it without saying you've redefined. Because you see, the major issue, I was on a show with a colleague from Parliament, and he was talking about access, right? And talking about you have to build more schools, and once you build more schools, you have guaranteed access. And what I was talking to him about was that in any system of education where there's a cost element, you cannot simply improve access by building schools because the kids will not have the money to go, right? Okay. So you complement infrastructure development with elimination of cost constraints, and then you open the floodgates of access to everyone. So you lay that foundation that says, before I say that basic education is redefined, I've removed the barriers that will prevent people from going.
Okay. So it's a foundation, it's a process. You are not there yet. We're not there at the place where we redefine
the cost element.
Basic education to include SHS.
The cost element, of course, on paper, but in practice, in actuality, we've done it by removing cost elements.
Let me find out, sir, from you what the cutoff point is for anybody to gain admission.
No cutoff. And I say that emphatically. No, it depends upon the school that you are going. Let me tell you something. The reason why we have explained this carefully and we've talked about this is that you may have students with the same aggregate, right? Same aggregate, but somebody failed English and math, right? Both. Yeah. And as a result, they may not get in. Okay? So when you begin to talk about cutoff, you confuse people. That is why we've told people that the most important thing here is this. 8% of the students did not do very well at all on the test. They didn't do well. Those are the students who are not going to participate in the free senior high school, right? Those are the ones. And I give credit to the NDC for coming up with a policy that was called RECIT.
For the
BEC. Yeah. Hitherto, it wasn't there. And they did a good job by saying, if you did not do well, go and RECIT. Right. So over the years, people have done it. And last year, those who did the RECIT are going with this year's group. Okay. So the 8% will be part of the RECIT, the candidates, and then they will be part of the 2018 school year.
So as long as you pass in the math and English, you qualify to be placed.
I mean, most students, if you really go and look at what the aggregate that they are going, I don't want to focus on it because, you see, there are some parents who are sitting at home now, and I got calls from Upper Region, Upper West, and their complaints was that we've been told that if you get this cutoff, you can go, but you have to pay. And it's not true. The most important thing is I wanted to focus on placement. Okay. Once you are placed, don't worry about the aggregate that took you there. Just pack your bag.
Once you pass in math and science, you're good to go. Okay. Well, Dr. Papakwesi Indum, who is, of course, the presidential candidate, who was the presidential candidate for the PPP in the 2016 election, has also been speaking. He thinks that the project or the policy should have been piloted first. Let's hear him. When we come back, I'll take the minister's response.
I don't see what the fuss is also all about. We're going to launch a free SHS thing, and now we have a free SHS secretariat. Why? The Constitution has already said this is what we must do. It should be part of our educational system, not another office, which means appointing more people, paying some more people, giving some things we don't have to some other people. What is the fuss all about? This is what we should do. It's fundamental. So what's the point? It's just politics or what? If it is politics, it's dangerous because then another person might come and decide that, when you say free SHS, it belongs to MPP, so we should change it. Maybe you don't remember, but Kufuor's time, if you go back, there was a policy developed. It went to Parliament, and it actually required for children to go to school, I think until age 16. Go and take a look. It's there. What happened to it when the MPP left office? It also went away. Yeah. And then we came with increasing access. So take the politics out of it, and let's make sure that we go by the Constitution of the Republic. That belongs to all of us. Then you can call everybody to come and help and make sure that this thing stays, because it is important.
Thank you so much. He's actually saying that do not politicize it, but it's actually very difficult not to politicize this, especially since the NPP wrote on the back of this policy to campaign and to come into power. But I mean, I think we do all of us a lot of good if we do not politicize it, because everybody agrees that if it goes through, this is a good policy.
If you followed my discussions, my press briefings, of course, I'm an agent of a political establishment.
Right.
But I bring my experience in education to bear to make sure that we are implementing a policy that will help students.
Okay.
And that's why when I saw a student smile, I was excited.
You were excited.
To me, this is not a political game. It's because I always look back. I almost did not go to high school. Almost.
And I'll be profiling you after free SHS.
We'll talk about that.
He has actually, so it's a promise, you'll come.
Oh, yeah.
So he has promised he'll come.
After
free SHS, let everybody go to school, and after that, we'll profile him.
Yeah.
We'll give you his life story. But let me take some of you who are joining us on Facebook. Dove Maxwell says, we want to put on record that the NDC started the free SHS with a World Bank facility of $156 million with 10,400 beneficiaries in 2014. Hence, not against the implementation of the program, but the sustainability of the program, the source of funding, and making sure quality is not compromised. So this is an issue we've spoken about. Ahmed Ayatuddin says, it was fantastic at a school I visited today. Things are moving smoothly. Hashtag thank you, Nadai, talking about the president. We're grateful to God and you. Yombo Bawa Moses says, in fact, things are going on smoothly without any problem. His Excellency Nanado, thank you for keeping to your promise. No wonder Achibe named you in his novel, A Man of the People. I see. Long live Nanado, long live free SHS, long live Ghana. Festus Osoyewusu said, this is a serious government who has come to alleviate the suffering and burden of the heads of ordinary Ghanaians. Kumasi Township is bustling and overly congested due to this laudable policy. So is that a good or bad thing? People are taking advantage to enroll their wards. When Nana says it's free, it's absolutely free. Let me take maybe one last comment. Festus Osei said, poor NDC still living in a false paradise, something that will churn out, drop out, and unsustainable couldn't have been started by the NDC. You're so pathetic, I see. This is what Dr. Papa Kwesindom is saying we should shy away from, politicizing everything. Okay, finally, Dove Maxwell again. Ghanaians were faced with two choices, progressively free SHS, NDC, free education for all Ghanaian children up to SHS NPP. Which of the two is being implemented? Either I don't understand the meaning of progressively, or the NDC is still in power and will progressively introduce free education starting with only first years. Even with only the first years, the challenges already are humongous. And yes, what's the budget for logo, billboards, t-shirt, adverts, etc.? Waste or prudence? That's a very nice way of ending the conversation with an answer to that particular question about what's the budget for logo, billboards, t-shirts. We understand tomorrow the president is going to launch. The program has already started, so to speak. So what exactly are we launching? How much is going into all of those?
We are very careful with money. Lean budget. You'll be going to the luncheon, so go and see if there's any opulence there, and if there's any display that will let you know that we are wasting our taxpayers' money. It's going to be a very simple and short ceremony. School children are going to be there, and it's going to end with the affirmation that if you make a promise, you keep a promise. Promise made, promise kept. That is what is going to be on display tomorrow. So come and see. I want the media to be there, and then you judge for yourself at the end of the ceremony.
We'll certainly be there. Well, someone was asking a question about whether you're going to be buying your uniforms. I think the minister has answered on that.
We don't buy
he says
uniforms.
You're not buying uniforms. The government has paid. I mean, everybody does agree that if this should go through, it's a good policy. But it's the issues that are coming up that we need to address and do so dispassionately. I mean, I have colleagues here who are excited that they're not going to have to pay school fees. But in the same vein, we also need to know how it's going to be easier for all of us. Actually, some people think that if it's going to be this problematic, then allow us with a fee-paying option. Let's go and pay.
Nope.
That's not going to happen.
No. You see, look at what's going on. I have a student who got A1, 8 of them, right? Can't go to do medicine in Legon. and those who are fee paying are going with West. I don't even want to go there.
Okay.
If the government comes out with a different policy sometime in the future, you know.
Okay.
But this time, no circumventing.
Did we need a logo?
Did we need a logo?
Was it necessary?
What am I seeing here?
This is your logo.
Excellent.
That's why we put it up.
I see JoyNews, right?
Yes.
You need a logo?
I'm asking you. I'm asking you to tell us why we needed a logo, or why you invested my tax in a logo.
Of course, we need a logo because you want people to see and come. We don't want kids to stay at home not knowing that there's free senior high school. But is the logo the trick to do that thing? Of course. You want to see the logo and it tells you that something is changing in this country.
I see. Okay. The Deputy Education Minister, Dr. Ose Educhum, has been my special guest for today. Today we've been very, we've done something that we don't usually do. Open the phone lines for you to ask him your questions. And I believe that those questions have answered those answers have been very good for your questions, and that it will lead you. Those of you who are having issues. There was an issue about Sogasco. She just about Sogasco. Okay, so Sogasco. Sogasco. The parents there who were stranded. Yes, the parent who was stranded at Sogasco. The Deputy Minister has dealt with it. So do let our correspondents know how it goes. You have any final words, sir?
Thank you so much for this opportunity. I've enjoyed this interview, and I promise to be here again. I want to wish our parents well. Okay. And I'm excited. Even though we've done a lot of work, I still have excitement in me. Because what excites me is when I see students getting the opportunity to be educated. Right. It's because of education that I'm sitting next to you. Right. Otherwise, I won't be here. I'll be on the street somewhere. Me too. So it's grateful to see students succeeding in schools, and that's what we're going to push forward in the years to come. Okay. Thank you so much for That's what we're going to push forward. Like I always say, it is a big deal. Education is a big deal, which is why we've dedicated all of this time to it. You're still watching The Pulse with me, Gifty Andropia. Let me take a very quick break. I'll be right back.